Okay, hello YouTube. Um, Someone on Dreams mentioned issues they're having, and I mentioned that I've got a YouTube channel, whole plugging and stuff like that. So I thought I'd plonk this up to help them out a little bit, and anyone else who has the same similar issues. It's it's in regards to elbows, wrists, hips, knees, ankles, the neck, the mid part of the back and stuff like that. It's in regards to that. Let me just quickly duplicate this puppet, just so, just so I can show you a in brackets correct and an in brackets incorrect. Like as I keep saying, there's no such thing as a wrong way to do something in Dreams. If you like doing it that way, do it that way. If it works, it works. It's not wrong because you're doing it different to somebody else. You just got to remember that. Okay. I'm gonna do the actually I'll do the knee just to thingy. Normally most people grab a knee and they'll go that, like that. Let's place it roughly right. There's a knee. So if I now grab that puppet and walk around and jump, it's actually relatively good as it is. But a lot of people have the issue when they do that, they want to stylize it. So they'll try and get, instead of the circle being a circle, they'll grab this and they'll do that. We'll enlarge it, narrow it that way a bit, and we'll plonk like that. Okay, I'm not trying to be perfect here, I'm just showing you a representation of what sometimes happens. So just say that's how you want the top of your knee to be. When I grab that puppet and I jump, you can see that the knees are very pointy. A lot of people, like he referred to it as like shooting rockets, like it's ready to shoot a rocket or a missile. There is several ways to fix that. The easiest way is to grab the subtract, get yourself, I usually use the square, but it doesn't matter what shape you use, and if you come in, see how it's a hard line. If you then press L1 and square, you bring up this. If you add blend, you can see how it's rounding it off. Just round it off a little bit, go up to roughly where the join will be, so say about there, and just place one. Now if I hide it, you'll see that it's a rounded off top where the square is. You can adjust the square, like choose the exact angle you want. Oops. Exact angle you want, all that sort of stuff. But for this purpose, I'm not going to bother adjusting it. There is there. Now when I move and I jump, it doesn't look like it's trying to shoot a rocket off. It's more of a rounded shape. Now when it comes to the actual in brackets best way to do it is what I would normally do for myself. For a guide, I'll just grab a let's unhide everything. Just grab a cube. We'll stretch it out that way a bit. Place it and align it. Again, make sure the alignments are all turned off so it perfectly aligns. Then we're going to shrink it down. Again, I could always just make one of these and upload it and let people use it. Just like if you just want to make one yourself, it's not that hard. Get one like that. We'll get another one. We'll go like this. Okay, so we've got ourselves like a little plus or a T. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but now we've got that. We're going to make it so that it's not collidable. And we'll turn all that off so it ignores everything. And we're going to turn on X-ray and the connectors. And as you can see, there's all your connectors. Grab yourself this little plus. We're going to shrink it down nice and small. About that size will do. Bring it into roughly where the joint is. Actually, that's a little bit too small. And go into there. So you get it so that that way is lined up with the axis, and then that way is lined up with the center. So come back this way. You can see it's too far forward, so I've got to bring it back. Bring it back. So right now that is aligned with the axis, and that is aligned up with the center. So now when I come back out, I can turn off that. While I'm working on this, I can see exactly where the joint is. So I can now grab my ball. Go like this. I'm going to add some blend. Again, use your own judgment. More blend can have side effects. Grab the center of that ball and align it. You want where the white line is, you want to align that exactly with that. And when you come across, align it exactly with that. Oh, when I say exactly, close enough's good enough. And do the exact same with the top part. Bring it down till it's aligned with there. Take it back to there. Then we're going to cross till it's in line with, that's not exact, but it's a bit, and in a bit. That's pretty damn close. Okay. So now when you come into the actual puppet, let me just fix its camera so that it's in closer so you can see. Oops, wrong button. That one. Grab its camera. Again, I like it to be somewhere between 1 and 1.5, so I normally go 1.2 or 1.4, and I'll lower that down to about somewhere between 25 and 30. 28 is fine. Now when I grab this puppet, the join there, like, by no means is this perfect, but you can see that the actual, when I do the jump and then the actual ball of the elbow is at the joint. So the actual connector is centered on those two balls. So then I can sculpt. So for example, if I go back out and come back into here, we'll remove that ball and remove that. Place a new one in just to show you. Center it roughly right. Go this way, we'll straighten it up, raise it and bring it in. Okay, we'll do the same with the top. Like as you can see, that looks like one ball, but it's actually two balls. So if I now come out, those two there, there'll be very little distortion of those balls. They'll always stay a ball because they're perfectly centered. It is a little off, you can tell a little bit offness, but it's really close. But there's actually two balls, or two spheres. And then obviously if you want to sculpt from that, you can actually come in here, for example, and you can see, like, for example, the top arm. There's the centerpiece. It's actually coming, because you can see there's a little bulge at the front there. So ideally I'd move that back a little bit, and then grab the top of this, and just tweak it back just that little bit, make it closer. Okay, let's grab this ball and move this one back just a little bit more. And same with this side, you can see it looks like it's bending towards the inner part. It looks like it's curving that way. So you just adjust that out a little bit. It's a little bit too much. I'm using a worn controller. god. I had it, so it's annoying. Okay. Breathe, it's all good. It's all good, it's all good. That. Maybe back that way a little bit and just... There we go, that's about right. So, like, you can still see the little bit of a seam there, but we're not worried about going for perfect right now. And I can grab you and adjust you so you're hiding the seam as much as possible. And now, obviously, this grid thing here, we can just duplicate that. Duplicate that, bring it up. Again, for this point here, we want to turn on X-ray and connectors. And then do the same with the top, and you can go there, that, to there. So now when I've got it all turned off, I can see, if I grab the pre-existing one, it's off. So I go across to there, go up a bit, and go forward a bit. That is roughly the center of the connector. Again, you could also adjust the connector to line up with the pre-existing. So, for example, on this one here, if I turn on that and that, we have to go by eye with this because we don't have the thing. We can grab that and move it to where we think is the center. So you go out a little bit, and the center would be up a little bit. So it'll be about there. It's only a small tweak, but that small tweak will make all the difference. My preferred method is this one because it's more precise. You can see here that that is pretty close to the center, so I can now come in, grab that piece, and we need to go that way a little bit, that way a little bit. Okay, and that's pretty close. Yeah, so those grids are going to sit there. You can't close them, so they're not going to interfere with you. Do your testing. Nothing's poking through. It's all pivoting around the things. It all looks good. And just for tidy up, for after you've done your alignments, we'll use this guy as an example, and I will grab another stretch ball or sphere. I'll do the knee because he was having issues with knees. Elbows are the same. I'll bring it in, light it just a little bit. Again, I'm not going for realism here, it's for a style. And this is usually where it happens. So if I get that, that looks fine as a knee on its own, like, as standing, but when you walk or jump, see it's got the thing pointing out? As he called it, the rockets or the missiles. That's where you come in, grab yourself a negative. I normally go a square. Again, give it a decent amount of round off. Use your own judgment. Go to, you can normally see it because when you're going down, you can see, okay, there's join, 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 and that sort of blends. When you get to the blendy part, place it. Now, obviously that still looks great when it's standing there, but when you jump, actually doesn't look that bad. But sometimes when you jump, it'll poke through just that little bit. That's where a keyframe will come in handy. Open up the puppet, grab yourself a keyframe, and on one side of the puppet, just on the one side, bend the join to roughly where you're most commonly going to have it bend to. Same with that, we'll bend that. Right about there. And save it. Now what you do is you activate the keyframe, so it's turned on all the time. And you can see that's poking back a bit. So what I've got to do with this one is come into here and just adjust that ball in that way a little bit. Up to that one, take it back a little bit, and down a little bit. That's pretty close. Then you can look at the one that hasn't been adjusted, and it still looks close. Do the same with the knee, you come in. That bit's fine, it's not poking at the front, but as you see that bit there, it's still poking at the bottom. So grab that, move it up to about there, then check that one out. It still looks relatively fine. So it'll look good when it's bent, and it'll look good when it's straight. Same with this one. Looks good when it's bent, looks good when it's straight. Then you can back out, deactivate the keyframe, and there you go. There's your joins, and they all look relatively good. Now, as you can see, that they are not your standard joins. That is not a normal human being joint. The bottom one looks kind of like Popeye gone wrong on the legs, and the top one is like Raymond on steroids. But that's how you can do them. Now, the back, that's a little different. So if we come into here, my tips, use the pre-existing joints, grab the connector, the centerpiece, and move it to exactly where the joint is. Do that with those two. Just that one move of those moving up to there will make all the difference. If I grab this puppet, for example, lean it forward, see how there's a lot of pokage, like it looks lumpy? I have not resculpted any of these in any way. So I haven't changed what they look like or any of that. If I grab this other puppet, and then do the exact same move, lean it forward, there's a whole lot less pokage. Then all you got to do is do it with done with the knee and done with the elbows. You can either use the grid, the little thing we made, the little plus symbol, to align the ball, because a ball is the best one. Because when it spins, you want it to pivot. Ideally, what you want to do is have the ball or the sphere pivot around that centerpiece, and then it will not move around really nice. If I grab a copy of this, we'll move it up or grow it so we can see it. Okay, so we're going to place it roughly correct. So again, you look from the front. It isn't going to be precise, but it's close enough. There. Look from the side. It needs to be about there. So now when I turn them off, I can see exactly where the ball is. So opening up this, you can see how that center is like way down. If we just bring that up to there, do the same with this one, grab that one and bring that to there. Just those two being together like that, those two are exactly pivoted on that joint. So they should not move within each other. And that is the best or easiest way to get a, in brackets, seamless joint or a smooth joint. Obviously, the turning like this, because the body, as you can see here, is wider than it is thick. The only way you could eliminate that issue is if you get, like, see how that one's perfectly around this way, but if you look on the side, it's more like an egg. The only way you're going to fix that is have the exact same. So if I get rid of the shape, I'll grab a new one, I'll grab a ball. I'm not going to change the color so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, because I'm doing the body part, I normally do that. And you can actually use that line. As you can see, that there is slightly off. So I grab this. It's going to be moved to the side a little bit. Go in. Okay, that's pretty close. Grab the ball. Align the grid at the front. like this, get it nice and close, boom, place. Then you just go up to that centered, rotate that to there, bring it back till it's centered. That's pretty close. And that is now centered on that thing. Now obviously, that looks as jank, but as you can see, it's pivoting on it. And then from there, just use the same technique as you've done with the knee, with the remove, and you just come into the back, grab yourself, again I normally use the square, you can use the ball, use the square, you can use the cylinder, I'll use the cylinder to show you. As you can see, if I get in, it's a sharp cut right now. We don't want a sharp cut, so we want to add a heap of blur, so blend, so go play there. And we want it to be that way, so I'll place it, and then I'm going to move it to where I want it to be. So we'll say about there, scale it up, move it back, and now the bigger the shape, obviously the less you'll notice the shape, so go say about there. There you go. The ball is still there, it's just I've cut it away to make the back shape. Obviously I haven't gone into like perfect details, like making it exactly right and stuff like that. Use your own judgments. If you feel it's the style and the look you're going for, do it that way. Don't have someone say to you, oh, you can't do it that way is wrong. Of course, if it works for you, then you do it that way. I do recommend that if someone says, oh, I do it this way and I find it's better, give it a try. But if you still prefer your method, do your method. But don't just say, no, that's not going to work without trying it first. So there's my how to do the joints and the bending and stuff like that. And as you can see, like if I bend, it's still like the height has still got pokage because of the height. That is obviously, again, come in, grab the one that's poking, grab a square, or any shape you like. Again, remember to add some blend. The more blend, the rounder the thing will look. So we'll go about there, go about there, we'll move it up, and then we'll move it to where we want it. So if I say to about there, and say about there. Now it's harder to do the back in the aspect that you can't do the bend one joint and not the other, because there's only the one joint. But because of that, it's adjust, bend, test. That looks relatively fine. I could probably go a little bit higher, but that looks fine. The curve in the back is a little off, but it's preferred style. If you want to do the curve in the back, you can. And before I call it, I'll just quickly point out too with the butt cheeks or the hip area. Again, nothing against people that do it, but it annoys the living crap out of me because anatomically, a human being's butt or the butt cheek or the gluteus maximus is attached to the hip, not the leg. So what I have a tendency to do is grab the hip, get yourself the ball. Now, for the main part, don't put any blend. Leave it as standard and scale it to roughly how fat the top part of the leg will be. So the thickest part of the leg is roughly the size you want the butt cheeks. So about that place. Now we're going to adjust the length just a little bit, and then we're going to tilt, and then also tilt in the way. Those two tilts are for the alignment of gravity, because it's going to be pulling down, like where it's attached to at the top, where the muscles come down and attach. It's going to be the weight of the butt cheeks are pulling down on it, so that's what tilting the way it's tilted. And then from there, we just place it so that roughly the lowest part is where the center of the leg will be, kind of, sort of. And then height, around about roughly where the puppet's already bottom is. It doesn't have to be exact because you can sculpt it to yourself. And then depth, choose how deep you want it to go. And then obviously you can adjust more angle if you need to. Number one, that's the main part's done. Then you want to grab the same one again, but we're going to add blend to it. Again, use your judgment as much as you like. Scale it down a little bit in place. Now this is going to be where it attaches. So if we go into the hip, to there. This is the ideal way to do it. Again, use your own. Okay, it's placed. Now we just got to adjust the size of this to the size of the hip. So up to there, in a little bit. Let's look at the front, see a lot of poke through there, so coming around to the front. Grab the stretch and just move it back until it sits about right. That is the top part done. And then as you can see, the blend part is pretty close already. Now, the front part of this thing, what we're going to do is grab the exact same ball, so we can copy, bring it forward and bring it down to roughly there-ish. Ideally, I will stretch it like that, a little bit of angle, bring it in to around about there, and take it back till it's sitting roughly right. Pretty close. And we can adjust the lengths till it looks about right. Close enough. There's a hip. Wrong one. And you got to remember, while you're looking at it right now, it's going to look odd because, let me fix that camera. That camera's annoying me. Because the legs aren't thickened up, it's going to look odd because obviously the legs are still the skinny of the standard puppet. So 1.4. We'll take it down to 26 is fine. As you can see, there's the hip. So when you bend, it all goes roughly right. And if you want to add the leg part to it, that's where you grab the leg, without that on, grab yourself the ball, and the upper leg is more of that shape, like a really long elongated leg, egg. Go to about there, align it, move it in, do a little bit of tweakiness. As you can see, that is actually really close. Now obviously, if you're going to be doing an actual paint on, where you're painting on the stuff, you could paint the underwear on there, or you could sculpt onto it to make it look like a pair of shorts, all that sort of stuff. And obviously if you're doing shorts, do not put the legs of the shorts on the hip. Put the legs of the shorts on the legs. But the technique of grabbing half the puppet and moving the joints, do it with the hips as well. Grab a keyframe, grab one leg, move it to an extreme, leave the other leg alone. Same with the arms. I would normally do that one up, that one like that, do that one like that, save it. While you're editing the sculpts, do that. So you can look here, that hip part there, that butt cheek could actually be a little bit wider out, or I could add a section of butt cheek to the side here to match up with the leg. But in my opinion, that hip there is actually a really good hip. There is nothing wrong with that hip. When you look from the front, you see a little bit of the butt cheek poking down from the crotch area. That's all roughly lined up, and that's how a human body is. So it's all good. I wouldn't bother tweaking that. That's all good as it is. So that's my how-tos of the joints. These little grid things, very helpful. Again, X-ray it and just align these up with the balls. It helps. You don't have to. You can eyeball it and you can get pretty close. If you don't want to use this and you just want to use the standard puppet and you want to make it move better, like as you can see, just going like that, try and get your camera aligned up exactly. The placement of your camera is important. Look straight on, don't look on an angle, it will throw off the thing. Just aligning them, like if we move this one up to at the joint. Same with your hands. As you can see, the hands are below, so if we move that to where the joint is, in fact, they can be moved out a little bit too. Okay, I've done the shoulders. Again, the neck, and the neck's about right. The head's about right. All that seems fine. The ankles, do the ankles as well. Move them up to the joint. Just doing this one adjustment, all these little adjustments, it seems like, oh, that's too much work right now. But trust me, it will feel so much better in the end run. Okay, so I've just done all those adjustments. Now if I come in and grab that keyframe, and I'll turn it on. Now look at the arms and everything. If you could remember what it looked like before, like there was a lump on the hand, like the hand wasn't attached properly. It looks almost perfectly seamless there. Elbow, almost just a slight tweaking, and you can get that seamless. The shoulders, I pretty much had them right anyway. The ankle, again, while the keyframe is out, do the edit, adjust the thing. Normally, I would do one like that, and one like that, save it, and then I would adjust the front on this one, the back on this one, and you can see what the front's going to look like, what the back going to look like at their extremes. And then you can just come back in here, oh, wrong button, come back in here, disable it, and you'll see what it's like flat. And even like the back part, leaning forward, leaning back, it all looks relatively good. So well, I'm going to call it there. There's your like how to do the bending and the joins and stuff like that. If you're going to take one thing away from this, alignment. That is the most important alignment. Either align it to the join, or align the join, I should say, align the body parts to the connector, or align the connector to the joins. Doesn't matter which way you do it, just so long as you do that. The alignment is the most important thing to make it look right. Like ideally, this knee needs to be more there. But because we're in brackets faking it, so long as that ball, both the balls from the lower and the upper parts, it only has one ball. So if I place another ball on the top part here, if I grab a sphere, around about the same size, doesn't matter the blend. So long as I align that ball with this ball, and that is aligned with the ball as well. Like if you look at the, where are we? If I grab it, See, this is where because when you click on that, it disappears. So if I'm going to grab this, move this into here, just so I can get the alignment. Scale it up a bit. Okay, let's go from the side so I can see it, align it to about the center. Looks about right, then come this way. Centered. So now when I select them, so long as that is centered and that is centered. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. They're aligned. Whenever I bend it, it all looks good. So that's it. That's how you align, bend, join up segments of your puppets. Again, if you want to do a tail, ponytails, long hair, a whip, a snake, anything like that that has joins, the alignment is important. Even if you are manually creating the connectors, so long as the connector and the join of the two pieces are aligned, the more perfect you can get it, the more seamless the join will be. So I'm going to call it there, guys. The guy from Dreams, Yellow something. I can't remember his name, sorry. I'm sorry I forgot your name. Hope this helps you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this puppet and the little grid things so that people can use it. So if someone wants to use it, they can use it. And if it helps them, by all means. I'll leave it as is like that. I'll remove the grid, the floor, just to make it a little bit easier. I'll do a quick save. I'll let you watch me save it. I'm going to go contraption. Joint help. Okay, Sony, why does help disappear? Okay, I'm going to call it joint help. It's full, but I will save it. I'll upload it. You better use it. There you go. I'm going to call it. I hope this helps. If you see me on Dreams, by all means, don't hesitate to ask if you need assistance. Stay safe, look after each other, and I'll catch you next time.